Do you want
Wow,
you
you
want
look
a visual?
smashing.
Thank you. I just came from ABC News. They have very good makeup people.
I know. I have them on hand all the time. You think what this is like doesn't take hours of work or something?
You
Come on.
actually look really good, I have to
Thank you.
say.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
you look a little better than you did at Woodstock. I don't know if it's the lighting
Maybe.
or what. Both
I
of
don't
us
know.
look like we got back to the city.
I was
spruced up.
I was pretty run down. I mean, I think by the time, yeah, I was a little bit run down, I admit. But it
No
was
worries.
still, yeah, but I had a good time. I enjoyed our Q&A, and I was very, very glad to be appointed that film. So I hope it.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you, and thank you for taking the time to do this. I'm sorry it's been like a little topsy-turvy in terms of timing, but
That's okay.
we got held at the studio. So
yeah, no problem at all. Yeah.
cool.
Well, it's fun. It's kind of exciting. I feel like, there's a volatility to it. It's fine.
I mean, you know what? Since I saw you, we won Woodstock, and then we were New York Times Critics Pick, and things are going pretty well. And we've had a couple screenings in town that have been very, very well received. Like the audience just like it was at Woodstock, but
Yeah.
packed,
Right.
absolutely. Both screenings were jam packed.
These are special one-offs, right? And
they were special one-offs. There was one at DC TV on Monday night, and it turned
their
out
new cinema. They have a new cinema. Right.
Hi
there.
Hi. I'm along for the ride.
Mom's here, and Morgan's in the back.
Hi there. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you.
And we were so it was the firehouse that it was her father was FDNY, and that it was the firehouse of her father.
Wait, say that part again.
The movie, the DC TV is the firehouse of.
I know, it's the Firehouse Cinema.
My grandfather.
Oh, that is very bizarre. Wow.
Yeah, it was bizarre. It was amazing.
I'm
so
trying to.
Super cool.
I'm really looking forward. I just brought on Dara from DC TV actually, because I used to do lots of stuff with DCTV, when I was doing more than a podcast for a long time. And I have a lot of I have a couple of friendships there at DCTV. So finally I'm dying to get down. I was at the groundbreaking with Michael Moore and Morgan Spurlock and everybody, but it took 5 more years to actually open the doors to this place.
You're just reminding me that I was meant to invite Morgan Spurlock this week, and I didn't. Damn.
I'm sorry.
It's too late now. The movie's playing in like an hour or something.
Well, you never know. You never know.
There is tomorrow.
That's right. And tomorrow, Sandy is going to be doing her Q&A. But
yes,
right, Sandy Dabowski. Yeah. But tonight it's Amy Bird.
Yes.
Oh, great!
She's amazing.
I love her.
Yeah, they're both amazing. And,
yeah,
Chai Vassarelli gave the most unbelievable, heartfelt, and
introduction.
Introduction. Are we recording right now for the podcast?
Yeah.
My mom should not chime in.
Oh, it's fine. It's what that is like. What my podcast is very casual, just a little deceptively, because you get all of the good stuff in there, but it's kind of masked by a very casual, off the cuff kind of thing. But believe me, everybody's going to know where. And like, for instance, it's at the IFC Center this week as we speak, and then on the 14th it opens in LA. And then a national expansion takes place, and then it's going to be on Paramount Plus in November. But right now, go see it in the movie theaters with your friends and your family. Take everybody, because you'll want to talk about the film together.
Yeah, it's a group experience, but it's definitely a better group experience than anything. It's been an incredible experience also being here with the whole family, and we'll all be Q&Aing tonight at IFC, and then tomorrow night as well at the 7:15 showings, and then. And we're off to London to the London Film Festival Monday and Tuesday, Morgan and I. But then we'll be back in LA to open the film next weekend as a family again. So, and then to San Francisco and on from there. So it's a really beautiful experience to share a dad with everyone, and really, I hope that his legacy it seems to be one of great healing and joy for people who see the film. I mean, several people last night said they found it to be absolutely joyous.
Wow.
So
Well, while
that's
you're there with your mom, I have a question, because this will piggyback onto the question I asked at our Q&A at Woodstock Film Festival, which was, about that moment with your sister allowing your dad to feel his guilt and remorse and his shame, and then be able to release it. Do you feel like your dad had that peace? Do you think he got there before he passed away? Well, I shouldn't say before he passed away, before the
passed away is fine. I
before
mean, that's
he
what
was.
he did.
I guess so. Yeah, that's true. It's
He
euthanized,
died.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He took his own life, but legally. So,
Right.
but yeah, the technical term is medical aid in dying, but I absolutely do feel that Dad died knowing that he had been a great man. And that was
Good.
not something that I think he went into this period of time feeling. And he, at one point in his life, he felt that way. He had founded the fastest growing airline in the world. He was providing for his family and then some, and for 3,000 employees, and a patron of the arts, and so charitable. And he was just really doing great things in the world. But when he had that accidental stroke 40 years ago, he was pushed out of the airline he created, because there were no disability protections, and they didn't think the board didn't think Wall Street would take kindly to a quote cripple running an airline. So he lost his baby, and he had to resign, and the airline was mismanaged for another couple of years. It was a very, very tough life for them, and especially during COVID, which was not kind in any way to the elderly. It was hard, and
It's okay. Let her. She can be on too.
No, she's busy talking to the driver.
Oh, okay.
You want to be on, Mom? No, she doesn't want to be on.
No. He sounds like a very nice Jewish boy, but no. Oh. Hi,
It's been very gratifying for Mom, I think, too. Like this whole having the film, something that she watched every day. You can talk about that.
Hi, Adam. Yeah, it gives me a lot of comfort to let him go.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I watch it, I feel good. I know he's at peace.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I had a sense too.
It was, I think by then he had witnessed so much love and the impact on his former employees and everything, that he was in a position to actually say, you know what, I'm ready to do this. And he was always an incredibly honest human being. As you know, when Rachel says, I wrote a eulogy on the plane, what was his first question was, is it truthful?
Mm-hmm.
So Rachel has said now in Q&As that many people don't ever get to that point of being able to actually be honest about the things that they're truly ashamed of, and even before they die. And so we just feel so blessed that we had that chance to surround him with love and take him through all of that so he could go on unburdened.
That comes as a relief, because us as excuse me, as a viewer of the film,
learning of the film is derived from it. I think for all of us who are alive, and living for decades to come, to measure our lives differently than we have, because he admits on the last night of his life that he measured his life wrong, and that by and as my sister says in the final sermon, by that measure, by measuring, if he measured his life by love, by that measure he wildly succeeded. So yeah.
Do you think you're going to be able to
look at our lives?
Absolutely true. Do you think
laptop, hotel room, take two.
We are ready. The question I think I was trying to say was, do you think you're changed as a filmmaker after making such a deeply personal film? Is there any going back to the types of films you were making before?
I think that's a brilliant question that I also can't really answer, because
I didn't even know I was making a film when I was making this film. I was just following my gut instinct to record my father. And he's the one who said, I instinctively know you're on the right track.
Wow.
But I thought I was just capturing him for our family archives. I didn't, and for me not to forget his voice and his personality. I did not think I'd make a film until one really emerged, and the profundity of the weeks leading up to his death, like the learning that happened that naturally came from our family, just doing things like the vidui that Rachel did, you know, the deathbed confessional we talked about, and the Zoom calls and the celebration of life before he died. Like, it just started to feel like if I didn't share it, that would be wrong. You know, it would be like against the credo of being a documentary filmmaker, which is all about learning and sharing what you learn. However, it was so private and so raw and vulnerable that really had to be a family decision. And it was thanks to the healing effect of the film that Rachel witnessed that she agreed to it finally, because she was not at first down with the idea of us being presented to the public in that way, especially because at that point, actually, you know, when it premiered at Sundance, it was not, it violated Jewish law to help a person end their life. Any premature, you know, decision to end your life was actually against, they've now reversed that position.
Which is amazing.
So that's amazing. Yeah. So we're already seeing changes, maybe partially from this. And, you know, and if we can change the law here in New York, where I sit right now talking with you, that would be, you know, the greatest legacy for, because here's the thing, my father suffered quietly. He never complained. He was the most extraordinary person. He taught us what grace looks like and generosity. And the hardest part for me as his daughter was not being able to take away his suffering. And the fact that this film could actually help so many countless others who are suffering now would be really the greatest legacy for him. Because I always think of this film as a gift that kind of came through me. That's really from him to us, you know? And that's, I think that's what it is. I just kind of delivered it. And and this is true for a lot of my films. Like, I just have I had no idea when I was making We Live in Public that I would turn it into a film about the internet's effect on privacy and intimacy, because who would know, you know, who really knew what was going to happen until Facebook happened. So, I mean, I shot the movie in 1999 and put it out in 2009 because it took that long for society to catch up. So I never really know what I'm going to do, but I will say I've written a screenplay that covers my father's story because I never had the archival footage to make a documentary. And I wanted to bring the airline alive and the tragic plane crash that happened and the stroke and its impact on our family, and really be able to kind of bring all of that and my father to life. So I've been working on a script for like 6 years, and I would dream to make that film for sure. I don't know. Yeah. The question is, will I stop making personal films anytime soon? And I don't know if I can ever stop making personal films. I mean, it's so gratifying. It's terrifying, but it's also so gratifying to, you know, to share what one most appreciates in life. And in my case, my father was my favorite person in the world. So
it also helps
your heart, you know?
Yeah. And it helps that this is a deeply personal film, which just happened to come together so cinematically and so structurally on the structural dimension to it that, you know, it just made sense. I mean, it was delivered almost to you in a way. As I think,
there was a countdown inherent in it. And in that countdown, we all went through. Yeah. And in those 15 days, we all, you know, went through quite a lot. Of course, I could play with that and do Zoom montages and, you know, all of that, but it was all building towards an inevitable ending. And you kind of, I think each character, each person in my family really has a full arc in the film, as does everyone who visits Dad, right? Because to me as an editor, what was also really fascinating was the impact that facing death had on the people who were talking to Dad. You know, some people didn't even have the courage, which is fine, but they couldn't face talking to Dad again. They thought it would break them down. But my friend Lucy, who showed up in the film and asked him, you know,
lots of questions, including how are we going to talk
British.
to each other afterwards? The
She was
British,
English, right? Yeah.
She's English.
Yeah.
She came the night before and couldn't speak, like was just crying because of her own issues with death and the thought of losing her own father. And she ended up coming back the next day with written questions, you know, because I said to her, Lucy, this is an opportunity. He's not scared. He's not shy about talking about it. You can ask him anything and confront your own feelings about life and death, you know, and because we're all going to die and we're all going to lose the people that we love one way or another. So, yeah, I think, you know, thank God my family was supportive of it. Yeah.
Well, I just want to mention again that it's as I record this, as we record this, you're moments away from going to the IFC Center to have your first screening there. Well, it may have been playing a couple of times, but you're doing a Q&A with Amy Berg, filmmaker Amy Berg, and then and some of the other family members will be in the Q&A as well, I assume.
Yes, my mom will be there.
Your mom is there, which is
there. Yeah, one of the grandkids will be there.
Shabbat, so I guess Rachel will not be there. That's my guess.
Rachel's just not feeling that great after the Yom Kippur push this week. She's just exhausted, so she had to bow out tonight, but she'll probably be there tomorrow.
Perfect. Sandy Dabowski, love him. He'll be there to do the
opening
Q&A.
weekend.
Hey, thanks for
stand up from this interview and walk down there right now. Thank you for having me on, Adam.
Oh, Ondi, it's really a pleasure to connect with you and to have had the opportunity to see the film, to do the Q&A and everything. It's great. It's why I do this thing, you know, so we can have conversations about such topics. And one day I'll tell you what's going on with my own mother and what happened with my dad. So this, you know, the themes are so universal, but on a personal level, there's another whole story that I could share one time, you know.
Oh, I would love to hear it. I mean, that's also the greatest part about this, is not just sharing a father with you, but also everyone sees their own family in this film. It's really remarkable because it's so precisely about my family, but yet in those details. And that's what's so interesting about documentary and so magical about film. It's in those details that you find your own father and mother and your own loved ones and your own self. It's just, I think I don't know. It's always been really interesting to me, that idea. You'd think if you cast a wide net, it would be more relatable, but it's actually the more particular, the more relatable. So
absolutely. And that means getting more into the more difficult, complicated storytelling. You know, so it can get very raw
afterwards. You know, we talk afterwards. We'll all go out for a drink afterwards, because there's no like walking away. You just have to stand there and hug people and talk. So we learned that at Telluride. You know, like we left the cinema and like 50 people just stood on the street for like an hour and a half. You know, it's just like, okay, we have to kind of find a place to go afterwards. So
I understand,
but it's a really beautiful, cathartic experience, and I'm really grateful to have this opportunity. Really grateful to MTV Documentary Films for how hard they're all working too, and for their belief in it. Sheila Nevins, especially, and Liza Burnett Pfefferman. So really feeling blessed.
MTV docs?
MTV Documentary Films.
Great. Okay, I didn't really even know that. Okay, terrific.
And it'll be on Paramount Plus by Thanksgiving, but it's going to roll out to it'll be here in New York today, and next week in LA, and in London
on the 14th,
Queen, and that's Monday and Tuesday at London Film Festival, and then it'll open in London like further into November. But then it's San Francisco and Seattle and Portland and Austin, Texas, and there's screenings in Chicago. It's opening in Boston and also Washington. Oh, you know, you can find it on Interloper. You can find it on
Interloper Films, which is your production company.
And also on my Instagram, in my bio is a link tree where you can link to tickets for all of the screenings.
And I'll put that in afterwards on the I'll put I'll put the website on the end and the share it and everything. So
great, yeah. I think the link tree is probably the smartest thing, but I think it's a brilliant idea. You just go screenings, and then you go from screenings to and you could click on it. You could see all the cities and stuff. It's really cool.
Okay.
Anyway. All right. Thank you, Adam. Have a great evening.
You too. I hope it goes. I'm sure it will go great. So thank you.
I'll talk to you soon. Okay.
Okay.
Bye-bye.